Okay, let's turn over to our next investor presentation. We have a good one here for you. It's Murchison Minerals. They have their Brevit Mckenzie zinc, copper, silver deposit, which is in Saskatchewan. And they're also exploring for nickel, copper, and cobalt in La Belle Province in Quebec. Joining us is the CEO of Murchison, Jean-Charles Potvin. He's also known as JC. He's the co-founder of the company, and he was president and CEO of Murchison from inception all the way to November 2015. And he resumed that role in December of 2018. He's been a director since 2007. And previously, JC was president and CEO of Pangea Goldfields, which had extensive holdings in Tanzania until its acquisition in July 2000 by good old Barrick Gold for, just $200 million. No big thing. And up until 1994, JC was director and VP of Burns Fry, which eventually became Nesbitt Burns and then became part of BMO Capital Markets. He was a top-ranked equity research gold analyst there. He's currently president and CEO of Golden Sun Resource, which owns the Bella Vista gold mine in Central America. And he's also a director and audit committee member of Azimuth Exploration and Gold Reserve, both public exploration and development companies. JC has a wealth of experience, and we're looking forward to hearing how he is applying that with Murchison. JC, welcome to the Global Mining Symposium. How are you today, and where are you coming to us from?
Good. Thanks, Anthony. Well, this is my office in my house in Ottawa. So
fantastic. We like to check in. We've had people tuning in from Newfoundland, Cobalt. Now we got Ottawa. So welcome to the show. And JC, I'm going to turn it over to you, and we'll watch with much interest.
Okay, so I'll just share the screen here. Oops, not.
Yep, we can see it, JC. We're looking good.
You can see it?
Yes, we can. Yep. Just want to go into slide presentation mode, and we'll be good to go.
Okay. Whoops. Thing is, I can't see it.
So. No, we could do, JC, if you'd like. I could share it for you.
Sure, go ahead.
And then we can go from there. So just give me 1 second.
Yep. See, you have to be younger than 20 to understand this technology.
No, you're good. You know what? There's so many different platforms. So we are totally good. Don't worry about that at all. You're doing great. I'm just going to stop sharing you. Just give me 1 second. Actually, JC, do you mind stop sharing your screen?
Yep. Stop share. There you go.
And when you like the next screen, just let me know.
Sure. Okay. Let's move to the next slide. Essentially, that's just the cautionary statement. As well, be making some predictions and anticipations and so on. So go to the next one. So just to put the company in perspective, I think it's important to look at the market capitalization of a company. It's we have 109 million shares out. The current stock price is about 7 cents. So the market cap is approximately $6 million US. We do have a working capital of about $1 million. Three main projects in the company. One is located in Saskatchewan. That's the Brevit Lake area. And the other two projects include the HPM project, which is a nickel, copper, cobalt project east of the Manicouagan crater. And the other one being the Baroque project, which is located approximately 60 kilometers of Val-d'Or in the Baroque area. And it's a VMS type project as well. So looking at Saskatchewan, we do have one ore body already, and we have a very large land base. So the ore body is called the Brevit Mckenzie deposit. It has an inferred resource of 7.6 million tons of just about 7% zinc equivalent. and 2.1 million tons of indicated at about 11% zinc equivalent. And it's 100% owned, and again, a very large land position. So if we'll go to the next slide. Okay, this picture shows some of the core of the ore body. You can see it's very coarse grained, so it makes for very relatively easy separation between the various minerals, which include sphalerite, chalcopyrite, and peritite mostly, with a bit of galena. As you can see on this picture, this particular core has a very high grade of zinc and decent copper and good grades of silver. The next slide. So the ore body is described as essentially two mineralized zones. So the upper mineralized zone extends basically at surface for 1,000 meters, and roughly 25 meters below that is the lower zone. So the upper mineralized zone goes up to 16 meters and averages about 5.3 meters, and then the lower zone, again, located just 25 to 30 meters below that, has a strike length of about 800 meters, and averages 6.7 meters of thickness, but can be as thick as 18 meters. The ore body is open laterally and at surface. So the next slide. So as you can see in these maps on the left-hand side, the ore body remains open laterally at depth. We did drill one hole in the center, literally in the center of the ore body. It's called the hole BM 2104 back in February of this year, just a few months ago, and that hole did intersect 15.3 meters of over 13% zinc equivalent, and that's outside the indicated resource outline. So we believe that with some additional infill drilling and outfill drilling, that we'll be able to expand the indicated resource significantly, and also likely result in an increase in grade for the overall resource. Next slide. So this slide on the left-hand side shows the total land package with 627 square kilometers. You can see the location of the Brevit Mckenzie deposit. It's located approximately 1 kilometer east of the main highway that goes to northern Saskatchewan, and that goes to all the uranium mines and so on. It's also located about 3 kilometers to the community of Brevit Lake, where we do own 2 houses. So very good infrastructure. We have power. Cell phones work very well. So good communication, good road, mining-friendly province, excellent relationships with the local communities. And what's really important on this slide here is the Betty zone. This is the Betty zone was an airborne anomaly that straddled a piece of ground that had been frozen by the government. It came open in January, open for staking. We managed to acquire it, then drilled 2 exploration holes and intersected some high grade, narrow width, but up to 9% zinc. And then we did downhole geophysics using these 2 holes, and identified a conductor that's 700 meters in length on strike and about 200 meters top to bottom. So we believe that given that this BM conductor and mineralization is literally right on strike, just to the north of the Brevit Mckenzie deposit, it's basically, there's a high probability that the next hole that will be drilled right in the middle of the plate will intersect some good mineralization. We have already filed for a drilling permit. We expect to get that in the month of August and be drilling by mid-September. So I'd like to say that we are 1 hole away from showing a new discovery. At least that's our anticipation. Next slide. Part of our exploration program was following up on some 120 different airborne conductors that were identified across the land package in various airborne surveys that we've completed. We've come across quite a bit of graphite. A lot of it is crystalline graphite. It's not something that we were searching for, but it is a possible new resource for us. We will be doing a focused exploration in the next season to try to identify if we can find any commercial type tonnage of crystalline graphite. And again, that's in the context of this new economy of EV economy. Graphite is a key mineral to satisfy the demand for the new technologies. Next slide. So what's next at Brevit Mckenzie? We're doing some metallurgical work at the SRC, which is the Saskatchewan Resource Research Council in Saskatoon. So we'll be looking at how to best separate the different minerals, the sphalerite from the pyrrhotite and from the chalcopyrite. And we'll be looking at various technologies such as mineral sorting, gravity separation, microwave treatment, trying to break the rock by fast heating and so on. And as well, on the right-hand side, we showed a conceptual ramp model for accessing the ore body. So lots of work being done as we speak right now. So next slide. So moving on to the next project in Quebec, it's called the Baroque Vms Project. We've just recently acquired an option to acquire 100% in 4 claim blocks, strategically located just 2 kilometers away from the Epcor Barview mine, which is has a total resource of about 15 million tons, of which about 5 million tons was mined in the past. So it's great mining camp with lots of, it's a prolific area for mineral showings for gold, zinc, silver, and so on. We have 8 drill targets that are basically drill-ready targets, and we hope to be drilling those before the end of the year. We can earn 100% interest in this project, and so we're pretty excited about that. So next slide. So moving on to the HPM nickel copper cobalt project, which is a very, very exciting project. It's very well located. It's approximately 14 kilometers from just east of the rail line, and about 60 kilometers to the east of the Manicouagan crater, which is the site of a meteor impact a few billion years ago. And so it's not dissimilar to what you see in Sudbury. Next slide. So the one showing called Bar de Fer, or Iron Bar, was drilled in 2001 by Falconbridge and by Murchison back in 2008. Some high-grade nickel, copper, cobalt mineralization was indeed intersected. This particular hole of HPM 803 intersected 43 meters of 1.74% nickel, 0.9% copper, and 900 ppm cobalt. Now, the drilling was done over a strike length of about 300 meters. It was drilled down to about 280 meters, and the mineralization remains open laterally and at depth. So the next slide. So that's, I talked briefly about the Falconbridge having been recognized the area back in 1989 or so, did about 10 years worth of field work, did some first drilling in 2000, 2001. They were taken over by Xstrata. Xstrata was not interested in exploration, sold its assets to exploration package to a company called Pure Nickel. Pure Nickel optioned off the project to Murchison allowed us to earn a 50% interest. A couple of years ago, we did acquire their interest. We now have 100%. And until basically last week, we had 58 square kilometers of mineral rights, and we have recently increased that land package to 102 square kilometers following the completion of an airborne survey, which identified quite a few new conductors, and this is a pretty exciting place. So the next slide. So the map on the right-hand side shows the results from this VTEM survey that was just completed this earlier or back in April. We modeled the anomalies and or relationship between the mag signature and the EM conductors with the signature that was identified at the iron bar area of mineralization based on the drilling. And so using that as a model, we pinpointed 24 different priority targets that where the crew will be going in less than 2 weeks and follow up on the ground to try to identify what's causing these conductors to exist and so on. We know there are at least 10 Gaussian areas on the property, and with the recently expanded land package, we anticipate that we'll find a bit more. So it's very exciting. It's quite a few mineralized showing that are known, and we are looking for both the potential for high-grade veins type of deposits of mineralization, but also we'll be looking at the potential to identify large tonnage and perhaps lower grade zones of that potentially could be developed in the future. Next slide. So in a nutshell, we have a good, well-experienced management team. We have a history of success in various parts of the world. Our projects are located in Quebec and Saskatchewan, so those are very, very safe politically, if you want to describe that as that. All these projects have excellent local infrastructures. So the company, Murchison, provides exposure to very critical minerals in this new economy, including cobalt, copper, nickel, silver, graphite, and zinc. We do have one high-grade VMS type deposit at Brevit, Mckenzie. We believe that we're on the cusp of making another discovery at Betty Zone. Very large land package. Again, very good relationship with the people, communities where we work, and I'm really excited about this HPM project in Quebec, where there's a real potential to find quite a bit of nickel, copper, cobalt mineralization. And that's the story in a nutshell.
Excellent, JC. Thank you very much. Lots to dive into here. Really interesting things going on. Let's see if we can get my video to go. We have been fighting the internet all day, and that's a hard fight to have on your hands. Laura is I'm just going to let Laura set me up for the video here. Well, as long as you can all hear me. Can you hear me okay, JC?
Yep.
Okay. Listen, there are a lot of things going on there in terms of you have a nice kind of cross-commodity exposure, and you mentioned the future economy and your exposure to some metals that are going to play a key role in that. I'm wondering, is Murchison, are you going to position yourself as a battery metals company? How does that fit in?
In this electrical driven future, we will need batteries, we need wires, you need motors, so new technologies for batteries are evolving constantly. For zinc-based batteries, there's obviously lithium. We're not into that, but there's graphite is finding more and more uses. So with a broad spectrum of metals that we're exposed to, we believe that we can satisfy a lot of this future demand. We have to take the projects obviously further ahead, but we do have one ore body that's on the cusp of being ready for production in the relatively near term at Brevit Mckenzie. And this summer we expect to have generate a lot of news identifying multiple zones of nickel, copper, cobalt bearing areas on the HPM project. So we're all excited.
Lots to be excited about. We are up against the clock, but just if you can give us a little bit more that HPM, where the second half of your presentation, you focused on in Quebec, and you mentioned a resemblance to Voisey's Bay nickel mine in Labrador. Yep. Obviously a world-renowned project discovered by Robert Friedland back in the day. Can you give us a little more context on the similarities that you're seeing, just in conclusion?
Yes, we have very similar country rocks. Voisey's Bay was first recognized because it was a Gossan. It was the geologist that sampled Voisey's Bay originally came back with a whole bunch of samples, none of which had any metal values. It took some lucky guys that dropped in for lunch and whacked the place at the right rock, with a right hammer and so on, and found it. What I like is that we're in a similar geological environment, and we do have more than 10 Gossan areas. Some of those, we sampled 7 of them last September. And a number of them had nickel values of over 0.5% and over 0.5% copper and pretty decent cobalt. So we know there's nickel, copper, cobalt everywhere on the property pretty well. And so we feel that we need the right hammer to hit on the right Gossan.
Well, we'll wish you great luck in that. Yes, for some of our younger viewers, for people of my age and your vintage as well, JC, we all know the story very well of Friedland and diamond fields. But Friedland was looking for diamonds, to JC's point. They weren't expecting to find nickel there, and then boom, hit the rock, and lo and behold, a world-class deposit. So we wish you similar fate, JC. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you, Anthony.